to to being recorded.
Oh, is it
I
really?
don't know about streaming,
What do you
but it
mean?
is one
So,
party.
so I could just, as long as I consent.
Yeah, as long as you can. Well, here's the thing: as long as everyone is located in the same state, then as long as you consent to your phone calls being recorded, you can record them.
Okay.
Um,
And so this would constitute as a phone call
I don't know about
legally.
that. I don't know about that, but I know for
It's
phone
voice
calls,
over IP. Yeah.
it might. It probably does. Um, I don't know about video recording. Video recording may be different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for phone calls, yeah.
Mm. Well, we have been live. So welcome to the Mashcast, episode 17. I am your host, Kenny, joined as always by Charlie's Chuckles825 on Twitter Chuckles underscore 825 on Twitter. Got shafted there. And then
I've been shafted for a decade,
Yeah.
and I haven't been able to get that for
have you
whatever reason.
have you reached out?
Whoever this woman is, some middle-aged woman's got a private Twitter. I can't.
You can't even
Can't get
take a
at her.
peek, man.
No.
And Billy William,
Okay.
the William in WRK 10907 on Twitter. How are you?
Okay. I should make my Twitter private. I don't want anyone to talk to me.
That is already, yeah, your little profile note. Don't talk to me. Has
Yeah.
anyone, in all the times that I've been retweeting you or have mentioned you, has anyone tried to talk to you before?
A couple of times.
A couple of times.
It's usually, usually it's when I make some sort of a smart ass comment on your thing,
Uh-huh.
and then someone replies, and then I make a smart ass reply to them.
Didn't that happen once where it was like they didn't understand that you and I have like a much more familiar relationship than like your average two people on Twitter?
It could. I think it was that maybe.
Mm.
The only one I can really think of was someone. I posted some joke about Goku Black and Turles or Tullus, however you say his name,
Just tell us.
Tullus, and
Like someone's typing in the chat right now. And it's Turles! And it's King Kai! And it's Hercule! Anyways.
so I made some smart ass comment about that, and you probably retweeted it, and then like someone named Goku Black typed it, and I was like, for like retweeting me, I was like, oh man, I'm being retweeted by Tullus. This is great. I just got him totally. I flipped him around because I don't give a shit.
Not 5 minutes in, but okay.
And censor it out.
Can't monetize it anyway. Stop! The whole thing about bringing the show back was that the editing was going to be bare minimum, okay? So please don't make me have to edit the show. All right. Well, anyways, let's get into our first story here. Billy, I know you were a little distraught about this, but Minecraft Steve is his full name. He has been added.
Steve Minecraft.
Steve Minecraft? Okay, my bad. I didn't know how the surname given name worked in the country of Craftopia or whatever I don't know what these things are.
No, sorry, it's Sans Undertale. It is Minecraft Steve. I'm
It's
sorry.
Minecraft Steve.
I got
Okay.
it backwards.
Okay, sure. Now, but which one is his surname and which one is his given name? Is it Japanese style? Surname in front?
I mean, he goes by Steve,
Okay.
but
So
his
we're
full
assuming.
name, his Christian name is Minecraft Steve, but
Okay.
he just goes by Steve.
Okay.
So maybe that's his last name, and he just goes by his last name.
Mm-hmm. Like Picard.
Yeah. I mean, I
Does
don't
he not have
know.
a middle name?
I don't think so. I don't know if I don't know what Alex is. If Alex goes by Minecraft Alex or just Alex. I mean, she just goes by Alex, but I don't know if her name's Minecraft Alex or something else.
Well, they are putting Steve in Smash Bros. Is something that kind of seemed like it was going to be an inevitability, right? Eventually,
I was hoping it wouldn't be.
There's
Hoping it wouldn't
one of
be.
the biggest games of all time, right? So now we're in a state where we'll be lucky if
So is
Fortnite
Doom.
doesn't make it in.
Where's
Yeah.
Doom?
Well,
Well, since we've now seen a history of Microsoft and Nintendo working well together for Smash, maybe it's even more likely now.
I mean, this was decided like 3 or 4 years ago, apparently.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah,
all
Or
right.
even
from
longer.
Nintendo. Wasn't it like Sakurai had to say in the first Fighters Pass, but now it's like all Nintendo deciding things or something?
I think it was always Nintendo,
Okay.
like saying, "Hey, we want these characters in," and he's like, "Can you do this?" And he's just like, "You think I can't do this? I hate this character. Watch me make it. Watch me put in effort and blow everyone's pants off with how hard I work on this trash character I don't care about."
Billy, did you watch the presentation this morning?
No, I was
Okay.
sleeping and I was getting a box at the post office.
So that makes all
That was
three
a
of
way
us.
better use of my
Yeah,
time.
all three of us who did not watch the gameplay of
I was
Steve.
going to when I got home, but I didn't have time. I got home at like 3:20.
I woke up today. Yeah, I
And I
woke
was
up
like,
today
okay.
and checked my phone to see if there was any more breaking news, but instead it was just finding out that I forgot about a Steve gameplay video. So
I saw that there was a Byleth amiibo.
Amiibo, yeah, the male version of Byleth, which didn't for Robin, didn't they do both? And like for what's the other one called? What's the
One of
dragon?
them. I think
Corrin?
for Corrin they did. I don't think for Robin they did.
Yeah, okay.
I think for Corrin.
Hmm.
Because like those are like that's like the only Fire Emblem amiibo I don't have, except for like the Smash Crom. But like I have the Fire Emblem Crom, so I don't need that.
But
I
even
mean, I
like
don't need any of these.
for
But
Bayonetta and Cloud, they've done the two different
yeah, for
versions of
Cloud,
them.
Bayonetta, and Corrin.
Yeah, okay. But not Robin. That's interesting.
Well, those are 3 DLC characters, and I think that was because this was the Smash 4 pack. Yeah, those Smash 4 characters got the Player 2 amiibo.
Was it before Ultimate that those amiibo came out?
I believe so.
I don't
And
know.
like I have
Time doesn't make sense anymore. I can't measure that.
I have the Player 2 Cloud and Bayonetta
Mhm.
because I hadn't played Bayonetta 1 or 2 when the Bayonetta amiibo came out. So I got Bayonetta 1, which was Player 2.
Do,
Player
do
2
Amiibo
Bayonetta
even do
is
anything
Bayonetta 1.
anymore?
Sorry?
Do
Yeah,
Amiibo even do anything anymore?
they do. Yeah,
you
it's
can
the
level
same
them up.
function. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. It's a AI character.
They
Or,
learn.
like outside of Smash Bros, like games
It dep-
still doing anything with it?
It
Yeah.
depends on the game.
Yeah. Like Hyrule Warriors does. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity will.
Yeah,
Breath of the
Fire
Wild.
or the Fire Emblem Three Houses did something with it. The Fire Emblem Warriors game did something with it,
Animal Crossing does too, right?
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that lets you like get the character if it's a joinable character. Come to your town.
Well, one of the things with these, every time they announce one of these characters now that they've been doing is that they'll have like one of the Mii costumes is like a really specialized one that kind of covers up the fact that it's a Mii character. And so after they announced Steve, I was like, okay, the silver lining here is that we don't have to worry. The threat of the next character being Steve is no longer looming over us, right? It's happened. That anxiety is now gone.
Yeah, but
And
it's gone in the worst way possible. We lost.
we weren't going to win. Steve wasn't, it was always going to happen.
Yeah, but it could have been the next game and I could have not bought it. I was like, man, what am I gonna do now that Steve is in Minecraft? Because that's the one character I did not want. I was gonna cut off my hands. It was gonna be hard. Like cutting off the second one was gonna be hard. I'd have to use my mouth. But then I realized I was worried someone. Hey, shut up. This is a bit. Someone was going to think that I cut off my hands to have stumpy, gross, limbs, so I looked like a Minecraft character. So I couldn't do that. So I instead did the next logical thing, and I opened up my Switch and I burnt out the Wi-Fi antenna, so I don't have to update my Switch or update the copy of Smash Brothers to play with Steve. I mean, that's a logical thing to do. I'm a gamer. We throw hissy fits and break our stuff when something goes wrong when our toys make us mad. So I destroyed my Switch's Wi-Fi capabilities.
There's a lot of people who are very happy about Steve, though, and more power to them. You know,
There's a lot of people very happy about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not into it.
So you know what was funny was as they were showing off this trailer for Steve, like Twitter broke, and so no one was able to jump in and give their hot takes. So it was nice kind of having that time just to reflect on it on my own, and not look at what was happening on Twitter.
Just get off Twitter.
Yeah, I'd love to.
I guess I do Twitter wrong because I always hear about this kind of stuff, but I never actually see it. Just people complaining about the stuff that's supposedly happening.
Yeah, but you know, none of us watched the presentation today. But one of the me costumes, to circle back to what I was talking about earlier, was that this time is Bomberman. As
That was touchdown.
No. So like the special me costume where it hides the fact that it's a me, right? So everything about it is different, right? Like with the Vault Boy or whatever, and on Sans and Cuphead, right? Head to toe covered, so you can't see that they're a me character. And so this time it's Bomberman as that, which is cool. And it looked like there are multiple colors of Bomberman that you can choose. I guess it's going to be tied to whatever your favorite color is.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Which is cool because that kind of harkens back to like the old multiplayer ones that you could do. You could be the different colors. Chris and I used to play that a lot back in the day. Super Bomberman. He had the multi-tap for the Super Nintendo, so you could play 4 people at once. And then, then Travis Touchdown is now confirmed as a me, so a lot of people are upset about that.
So what's the tier list of would you rather have something be a me skin or a assist trophy? If they're not going to be an actual fighter. Like, would you have rather Travis been a assist trophy? Or is this good enough?
Yeah, I think maybe I would rather an assist trophy, because then, excuse me, then you have like, he would say something, right? This is just going to be a me screaming.
Yeah, but he's going to say fuckhead. At the very, he's going to jump off a motorcycle and yell fuckhead and decapitate someone.
Well, yeah,
That's
they'd
what he
find
said.
a way to.
That's his first line in the game.
Well, it doesn't mean it would have to be. Anyways, they'd find a way
Just gonna
around
put up
it.
an anime poster and talk about his otaku-ness
Yeah, and then.
over everyone.
And then
Oh, he's just going
hits
to cover
everyone
the
in the
Just
radio.
cover
like
cover the
Nintendogs?
screen up. Yeah,
No.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay,
That'd
that
be
works
cool.
too.
Like the Nintendogs dog.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, I was surprised that it wasn't a Mario representation with them making such a big deal about this being the 35th anniversary of Mario. I thought it was either going to be that, and of course, you know, I was going to be hopeful, of course, that it would still be Gino. I'm still holding out hope. Every time he's not announced as a me costume, I'm like, hell yeah, here we go. We're still in this, boys. And then I thought maybe it would be Crash, because Crash 4 came out yesterday as of this recording, and there have been like leaks showing that it is coming to Switch, and so I thought maybe they would put Crash in and then use this as a springboard to announce that it's coming to Switch later. That didn't happen. And then there was something else I was thinking it might be. Then this is like as an out of left field, like Urbosa or something, like one of the champions. Because Zelda hasn't had like any new representation since Brawl, I don't think. I mean, they tweaked Zelda and they've tweaked Link, but they haven't really added anyone new
I think
from
they'd
that
probably
franchise.
do like Impa if they were going to add someone else.
Impa seems like
from
she'd be
Zelda.
too close to Sheik, though. Like maybe as an Echo
Yeah.
or something, but I would have liked Urbosa, of course. Waifu. Anyways, so Charlie, I know you were trying to transition to this earlier, but I felt we had more to talk about with Steve. Anyways, I haven't bought the Fighter Pass yet. I don't plan on buying it until there's actually a character that I'm interested in. But
Same,
yeah,
for sure.
And
The only
Billy-
character that I'd out of left field really care about is Doom Guy, like Bill mentioned. That's probably a stretch at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft now has 2 representatives in Smash Bros. Sega still only just the one. Where's my Kiryu? Come on now. But Charlie, you know, with Doom Guy being a possibility, and now he would be a Microsoft representative because Microsoft I'm transitioning the sentence over to you.
I'm just seeing how long we can pause before you cut us off. Yeah, so Microsoft bought ZeniMax, which is the parent company of Bethesda. And we missed out talking about that as the hot news last week, but it's still, I think, probably the biggest news story of the year in terms of video games. Just because this is emblematic of what you could expect of the future. Um, the reason that it's important to say they bought ZeniMax instead of just Bethesda, which is what all the publishing for the studios is under, in terms of branding, is because that includes like all the tech and IP that would come with that instead of just the development studios specifically. Because if you remember way back in the day, somehow, about this show, we had a decent discussion about ZeniMax versus Oculus because there was some VR
With
lawsuit
Carmack, right?
with John Carmack
Yeah.
leaving. Yeah. And it's kind of funny because Carmack actually just tweeted recently after this deal that he might be interested in working with id Studios again because of them being under a better parent company.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's there's the back end stuff that you got to think about with this, not just who's going to have what games now, because a lot of those studios have already done a VR game and they're very familiar with that technology, which isn't really something that Microsoft has been involved in at all beyond sending out an update for Windows mixed reality headsets and their operating system.
I mean, they kind of set standards for Windows mixed reality. They should do this, and hardware developers could use these standards and slap on that, tagline, Windows mixed reality.
Right. But they're, Sony and Nintendo very limitedly, but they've both already sort of delved into VR in a sense, and Microsoft's the only one that hasn't really done anything in terms of gaming with it. Like I know they had their HoloLens, but that seems pretty dead at this point. So
It's
you got to
more of
think,
a
and that's more
it's
AR, but
yeah, it's more AR. It's not for gaming. It's more for like I'll say something more serious, I think.
it's an enterprise level application at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I mean. That's the word for it. It's like
yeah,
Connect is now like an enterprise type of thing. It's no longer it's under like the Azure, cloud computing
and
stuff.
that's not to say that they're actually going to do anything with VR, just that, there's technology behind all these deals that companies could be interested in, even if they don't actually end up doing anything with it. Similar with how last E3, id Software mentioned they were working on some streaming tech called Orion, which was going to help for remote streaming of games, which is something that Microsoft's very interested in lately. So that could be something that they end up implementing in their xCloud, or just the people who are working on it might be more knowledgeable to improve that infrastructure. Just those sorts of things, along with adding all these games to Game Pass whenever they actually integrate all their studios into their company. Um, I see that being very emblematic of the future of what gaming could have, because it's pretty clear that streaming isn't going to go away. It's not necessarily going to be as popular as consoles for a while, but Amazon just put out last week that they're making their own game streaming service with Luna, which is a little more cable TV like. But I see this as just the first step in the future of, even more so than the exclusives that like Sony has tried to lock down in the past. This is, hey, we're going to make sure this company's products are only on our streaming platform, kind of thing. Because that's where the money seems to be for what Microsoft's interested in, since that's what they've said their competitors are more Google and Amazon at this point, and not Sony. So I think it's a really big deal, even if it's not so immediately apparent, other than you might see some Microsoft logos on Sony products next year.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Xbox or Game Pass Ultimate to include PlayStation Plus. Uh, that's what I'm looking forward to. I get a Game Pass Ultimate subscription, and they send me a PlayStation 5.
I
Okay.
mean, that would be a
That'd be a
dream.
power move. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is I mean, it's big, and I'm glad you're able to speak to it because I can't. I don't know if I've ever played a Bethesda game for more than like an hour. So that's all.
Okay.
I don't play those. Nothing in their catalog is really my cup of tea. Oh wait, no, I did play Fallout when they had that free weekend on Steam. I did play it for like maybe 3-4 hours. I did like that game.
I guess that's the other thing is they pretty much got a monopoly now on those type of RPGs because they have Obsidian, who was making the competitor to Fallout last year, and now they have Bethesda.
Yeah, it's interesting because this came out of nowhere. We started hearing recently that like Sony has all this money they're throwing at companies to get exclusives in one way or another. And then, yeah, here comes Microsoft out of nowhere with what, like a $7.5 billion purchase for Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty
Yeah.
incredible. And yeah, a lot of this, yeah, we won't see the real effects of it for like another maybe 2-3 years. Once some of these games start coming out, once we see how exclusive are they, it'll be interesting.
Mhm. And I mean, in my opinion, I don't see the big games that Bethesda would put out, like a Fallout or Skyrim, necessarily staying Xbox exclusive. I think there's just too much money on the table for
Yeah,
them to do that.
it's
But
important to
Probably
note that
timed
who
exclusive.
knows?
it's important to
Yeah.
note that Microsoft did put Minecraft out on the PlayStation 4 long after having purchased Mojang. So it's not like they're not going to uh, produce games for PlayStation consoles.
Yeah. And the games that ZeniMax was publishing uh, are still going to come out, or the PS5 exclusive games that ZeniMax was publishing are still going to come out and be exclusive on the PS5
Yeah.
forever, however long the exclusivity deal was. Um,
So
but yeah,
Which isn't that's not even the first thing that's been cross-platform like that. Like there was a request from MLB to have Sony's MLB The Show series put on other platforms, so it's going to happen both ways this gen.
well, that'll be interesting.
So
Um,
you see company logos everywhere.
so we got Billy. Did you play Spider-Man on the PS4?
yeah,
Did you
it was
see the
pretty
stuff
good.
about the PS5 remastered version of it?
That they turned Spider-Man into uh, a kid.
Yeah, they have. So for PlayStation 5, the remastered version of Spider-Man, they've done some. Yeah, they're changing Peter Parker's model and claiming that it's to better help fit the face capture of Yuri Lowenthal, who's the actor who plays him. But that doesn't like make sense to me because when I look at the original Spider-Man model, the Peter Parker model, and then I look at a photo of Yuri Lowenthal, Yuri Lowenthal looks more like the older Peter Parker, and not, he's like a college graduate in this game, right? He's 23 years old. He's been Spider-Man for a while now, and yet he's going to look younger than Miles Morales. So it's just that it's silly. And the reaction to it has been overwhelmingly negative. I don't think I've seen anyone being like, "Yeah, this seems like a good move. Yeah, this looks great."
I mean, I think people kind of either they don't care or they like the idea of finally having a Peter Parker that wasn't a high school kid. Because most Peter Parkers are high school Peter Parkers, although I think the comics are all married
Well, yeah, I mean, we have that in the movies right now, right? And so we
Yeah.
don't.
Well, I mean, why
Yeah,
do
let
you
it.
think they did it?
Well, yeah, because it's like the same thing that happened with Avengers, right? Where when they first showed that trailer for that game, everyone looked like bargain bin MCU characters. And then they did go back and kind of tweak some of the faces a little bit, but it's still like it's like I remember when Iron Man first came out and was a huge success. And then there was all this talk about like, oh man, if we just these movies will help sell the comics. And that never happened, right? Comic sales continue to go down, right? And even Jim Lee, and this is DC, not Marvel, but Jim Lee said that he thinks of the comics now as like this breeding ground for intellectual properties to become movies. So like that's the state of comic books right now. So of course, yeah, they're going to try to make it look the main product is no longer the comics. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is now the main product. And that's so they're trying to make
Money is.
yeah, they're trying to make everything look like that. And it just sucks because that PS4 game had like its own character to it, right? And I don't mean character in like a person, but like its own universe feel that was fresh and different. And Peter Parker looked like no other Peter Parker. He was older, and it was cool. Some people are now like doing death threats, of course, because that's how gamers are. And we're not here at the Mashcast. We're not condoning that. Yeah, we're not condoning that kind of behavior.
I'm not that type of gamer.
Yeah, we're not. Well, you know,
mean, I could do it and justify myself, but I won't because I'm not a scumbag.
No, because we're players, right? Remember back in the day, you'd buy a player's guide. You didn't buy a gamer's guide. Gamers are these people who are.
I have to shit on your point, Kenny.
All right, TGS Tokyo Game Show happened a couple of weeks ago. I think it happened the week before last, and we didn't have that episode that week. It was all Billy's fault. Don't worry about it. But they showed off stuff for the new Nier, the new Nier remake. It looks awesome. Did you guys watch the whole like panel? Because I did.
I watched most of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I didn't watch the whole thing, I watched most of it.
I gotta tell you, I watched the whole panel, and the guy who's the composer for that game, and I think also for Nier Automata, I will die to protect his smile. I just want to put that out there. That guy had the greatest. He reminded me of Drew, honestly. Like when Drew gets in his giggle fits, and I was just like, "That's great." The game looks awesome. I can't wait. Yep.
I was expecting a little more of a remake. This looks like I mean, it is coming out current gen. It's not being designed for next gen.
Which is good for me.
But
personally.
Still looks way better than it used to, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even a 1.5 version. It's like
It's true.
It's a square root of 1.5. It's like 1.24 something.
Do we know what that number is? Is
It's
it like
the square root of 1.5.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Look it up. Load up your calculator on Windows and look it up, Kenny.
No, that's all right. I'll just take your word for it.
That's just a joke about how much of a remake it actually is. Because there'll be a few bits of new content to tie it into Automata better, I'm sure.
Yeah, because what the two girls are in it.
They were always in it.
Popolo. Yeah, I know, but they can use that. They can use Emil. There's different ways to kind of like tie it back into Automata, I guess.
I wonder,
like
we saw a very little bit of gameplay, but I wonder how much they've actually changed, because there's a lot of stuff in there that I don't necessarily know if you would appreciate, Kenny. There's a lot of that game was like an amalgamation of game designs throughout history.
Yeah, I've seen the what was that, Super Bunny Hop video, and so I know it gets pretty crazy, and there's all sorts of I guess what a way you could maybe compare it to would be that new No More Heroes game that came out, of just like the variety of different things that you're doing. Does that make sense?
Say that's on this game's scale at all. No. maybe, I mean, in terms of narrative, sure.
No,
I'm just wondering because they're obviously improving the gameplay to match closer up with Automata, but how much of that's going to impact those other areas?
now I did look up the team working on this game. They're called Toy Logic, and they don't exactly have the world's greatest pedigree. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Because
I
it's
more just
not
mean
it's
like,
not
you know,
platinum
Bill,
this
like I
time.
was talking about with like that Resident Evil section in that mansion. Like, are they going to stick with that? Or are they going to do like a modern Resident Evil, like RE2 remake style Resident Evil kind of thing? You
That's
know,
that's
would they play up with any of that?
that's a good point. Like, are we like? I mean, some things like the text adventure section of the game.
That'll probably be similar. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll probably have to be like they would either have to make it totally different or make it a text, keep it as a text adventure. There's really no way to like update a text adventure. It's kind of like text adventure or something else.
Didn't Automata have something like that?
It had a small side quest like that, and so I guess they could kind of do like that game and just have some background images to help give you a little more visualization.
So real quick, here are the games that Toy Logic has worked with, starting with Super Smash Bros. Brawl. It doesn't say what they did in it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Smash Up, Kid Icarus Uprising. Ugh. I'm left-handed, so I have to hate that game. Happy Wars.
Game's fine.
Happy Wars, which is, I haven't heard of it. They worked on The Evil Within. They helped with the 3DS version of Dragon Quest XI, and they had a game called Happy Dungeons, which is a spin-off of Happy Wars. So it seems like they're primarily a studio that assists with development, and it seems like they're really kind of taking the lead on this one. So, I mean, who knows how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, I guess I was hoping since Square saw how much money was coming in from Automata, they'd put a little more of a budget into the original Nier being
It's
remade instead of offsourcing it to another company. But
it's
I
surprising
mean, it
it's
looks
not platinum
fine.
again.
Yeah.
But Nier Automata for me was such a surprise. That came out in 2017, right? So that's the year of Breath of the Wild and Horizon and all these other, like, that was a great year for games. And I don't remember why I guess I played the demo for Nier Automata, but I don't remember why I borrowed it and why. Billy, did you just say like, here, play this, or did I ask you for it? I don't. But I remember being so surprised by the game and how much I liked it.
We pestered you a lot to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
It
both
wasn't just
told you
me,
about it.
Oh, okay.
Charlie, and probably Steven as well. You're always like, play this game. Stop being a lamer and play it.
But I did love it. It was awesome. And just the other day, I was listening to the soundtrack again, and it's like bringing back all these memories. So good.
Yeah, soundtrack is great. I wish the game was more replayable. I don't feel like I think it's too RPG-ish for me to like want to jump in and play it again, like Metal Gear Rising or a Devil May Cry game.
Well, I mean, you're also only 3 years away from it, so give it
Yeah.
another maybe in 10 years or whatever. We would be like, oh, I'll play this old game. Whatever the
Like
PS7 remake of it is.
like when I listen to the soundtrack, it's like I yeah, same thing. Great soundtrack. I want to go back and play it again, and then I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
start over, regrind all the chips and everything like that. It's a little
this is gonna kind of hint at the what we've been playing section game, but sometimes it's better to let games live in your memory than to try to replay them.
Ooh, juicy.
So they
I don't know.
showed.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
I think I like the original one better than Automata. Honestly, I think the soundtrack's better. What they were trying to do, at least potential wise, to me is more interesting. So hopefully it works out well.
Yeah, I will probably be there day one for this game when it comes out.
I mean, how do you feel about it being the version we didn't get originally? with
I mean, that makes me a little more interested just because there'll be a little bit different dialogue from what I remember. But
mhm.
I wish they would put out like a DLC option for Papaneer instead.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they will.
I mean, they reference both of them in Automata. Um,
So they also at TGS they also showed off some Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity gameplay, kind of confirming what we had talked about, that yeah, was going to be playable. I think we had speculated on that last episode. And yeah, she's playable. The game looks great. It's yeah, I'm there for it, 100%. Billy,
It,
you're gonna get it day one like me, I guess.
Probably, if
Yeah,
not day one, at some point.
yeah. And Charlie, this is not
it,
your cup of tea, or
I mean, it looked impressive how much it seemed to match the Breath of the Wild style. Um, yeah, it's not really what I'm interested in.
I get the impression that Nintendo is much more closely involved with this game than they were with Hyrule Warriors 1. So I wonder if it will be more like, in certain aspects, more like a traditional Zelda rather than a Muso where everything's being chosen through a menu and a grid, basically. So
I
who
just can't
knows?
wait for a Muso game where your weapons are always breaking and you have to constantly scrounge for shit. That's gonna be wild. It seems it's
No,
gonna be
Billy.
so good,
100 years ago,
so good.
100 years ago, no one's weapons ever broke. That was only after the calamity.
Can't wait, can't wait. Oh, I beat 4 enemies. I have to go find another stick. Heck yeah.
It's going to be weird though playing that game, like knowing the strategic way to fight what are they called? Guardians or ancients? What is the spindly guy? What are they called?
The
Guardians?
Guardians,
Guardians,
yeah.
yeah. Uh, it's going to be weird playing them in a Muso way versus how you fight them in Breath of the Wild. So, but it's
Did it show anything like you could parry their lasers?
I don't know. I watched a little bit of the presentation, but not the whole thing.
Hmm. I
And
mean, I
but
could already probably spoil the story by saying they're probably going to be your friendlies in the beginning and then turn against you
yeah.
towards the end. So,
But even in like the way that the map looks structured, it didn't look like there were a lot of areas for like strongholds like there are in all of the other Muso games. And Charlie, I don't know how many Musos you play, but you know these areas you go in, you have to kill all the guys in there, then you capture it so that your guys will
yeah.
start spawning out of that location. But when I was looking at the map in Age of Calamity, I didn't see anything that looked obvious like that, like no squares necessarily. So I'm not
Well,
sure.
from the brief part of the trailer I saw, it looked like you'd be spawning the towers, and those would act
Oh, yeah.
as that kind of. But I mean, I don't know. The only Muso I've really played is One Piece Pirate Warriors,
Yeah.
but it seems like it's the same kind of thing.
Every game is different in its own way. I think, just thinking back on it, I still think Fire Emblem was my favorite Muso.
Yeah,
I
they're good at tweaking the formula just enough to make it feel to make it match whatever IP they're using.
Yeah. And then something about a new Virtua Fighter. I wasn't. This wasn't really on my radar.
Yeah, Sega announced the new Virtua Fighter project for their 60th anniversary of their company. The trailer just said Virtua Fighter Cross Esports. So this might just be like a remake of Virtua Fighter 5 built for modern systems. I have no idea, but
I'm gonna say
sounds
something.
like Sega's been slowly working towards building back their back catalog, at least in some way.
If this Virtua Fighter, whatever it is, does not include Kiryu as a playable character, it is trash, and everyone at Sega should be fired. Because Virtua Fighter has lived on through the Yakuza games.
I guess I wouldn't really say the combat's comparable, but I guess yeah.
They're in
playing
the
it
arcades. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that like the only way to play Virtua Fighter 5 on the PS4? Is
Probably.
through like Yakuza 6 or in Kiwami 2, and I don't remember if it was in Judgment or not, but
I don't think they put anything out for Virtua Fighter this gen. It's been since PS3 was the last one. So yeah, probably. I mean, that would be a good fit for sure. Would you be fine with that if instead of Kiryu and Tekken?
well, I mean, I have no dog in this fight because I don't have Tekken, so I'll get whatever game has Kiryu in it and learn how to play that.
Okay, I see.
I think you would probably prefer Kiryu and Tekken. I believe Virtual Fighter is a very complicated game.
Well,
If I'm remembering the games right.
I'd prefer Kiryu in Smash Bros, but I don't think that will happen. Realistically,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
a-
that's not.
I don't think so.
He's been on Nintendo consoles before, and probably in kind of the same capacity as Cloud, but
I just put Vice in there instead.
who? From
Vice
Grand Theft Auto?
Exactly.
from Skies of from crap. What's
Yeah,
that game called?
Skies of Arcadia.
Skies of Arcadia. Yeah.
Valkyria Chronicles 1.
Oh.
Oh, or that. Sure. That version.
So speaking of games, that are kind of franchises going to try to make a comeback, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which had been rumored for a long time, the complete trilogy of 1, 2, and 3, the entire Mass Effect franchise, you might say, will be coming out. But they have to remaster the first one. They got to fix the first one, Charlie. Do you think
Well,
they
I mean,
need
this
to?
is still,
Hmm?
this is still a rumor. This hasn't been confirmed yet. But it's just a really badly kept secret.
Do you? I don't remember, and maybe it's because I played 1 and then I played 2, but I don't remember 1 being so. Just be to the point where you got to fix it before you can re-release it.
So, I mean, personally, Mass Effect 1's my favorite. So I kind of agree. But there's probably plenty of people that didn't play through all 3 of the series and are just used to the more FPS based or third person shooter based nature of the other 2 that would have a hard time going back to 1.
Yeah, 1
Um,
is way more of an RPG.
Mhm.
A lot more stats.
Was
2 is
1?
more of an action game, and then 3 they tried to bring in more of like the RPG elements from 1, but they didn't do that good of a job. But they didn't do that good of a job at anything in 3. It's kind of stinky, the whole thing.
This
It
is
was even more obvious what was going.
if this ends up coming to Switch, and if it's, I mean, these are last gen games. Or I guess at this point, last gen games. So I would expect that they can run on Switch pretty well. Yeah, I'd be down to play these games again on Switch. I don't know if I want to sit down because these are like 40-hour games. I don't know if I want to sit down and play these on my TV again necessarily. But if I had Mass Effect 1 on the go, heck yeah, I'll play that game.
1 isn't very long. It's maybe 12 to 20 hours, I think. If you rush it, if you rush 100% completion, which I did, because
Yeah,
I missed something the first time I played. I was like, well, this is obviously going to be important in the future Mass Effect games, so I need to go back and get this thing I missed because I didn't talk to this stick somewhere. So I played through the game and made sure to talk to the stick and do the side quest. I was like, oh man, this is cool. There's a flag I can see in the save. It's going to mean all sorts of rad stuff. It didn't mean shit. What a disappointment.
yeah. I don't think I ever finished the DLC in 2. I think there was like 1 DLC left that I never beat, and then of course I never played 3. But yeah, if this is all in one package, man, and it's on Switch, I'm there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
especially now that I've
I've
like
missed
watched a lot
out
of
a
Star
lot of.
Trek.
I don't care about. I was so disappointed in 3.
I,
Even like just
Charlie,
I
what
don't
were you,
I don't think
what were
it's.
you saying?
I
sorry.
don't think it's that bad. And the ending is pretty garbage, but most
Just
of it's fine. And it's got the best multiplayer out of all of them.
I mean, yeah, the multiplayer is cool. It's really cool. A little
Though
gotcha-y, but still really cool. But it's
I
just
don't expect them to put that in this collection, but
yeah.
they probably
It,
wouldn't put in the effort for that.
it was like they I don't know, maybe I got myself too excited about like all these choices you're gonna make are gonna pay off in cool interesting ways, and they never do. They never did.
No, yeah, I've
And I
realized
think
that a
I
long
think
time ago.
I played myself. I actually believed them, and I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna buy their games anymore. That's the main thing. I don't trust them.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
That's
burnt.
totally fair.
after Andromeda, I wouldn't trust them, but yeah, I'm down to play the originals. Charlie, you were saying something. You missed something.
I never played the DLC in 3, just the main campaign. So I've heard some of that's pretty good.
Isn't there one where you host a party on the ship?
Yeah, that's basically like the flashback museum section of Last of Us 2 in terms of just pushing a bunch of nostalgia on you and happy times.
Good. We could all use some happy times these days, you know. And, well, speaking of, for some people, this is not a happy time, but Farmville, at long last, Billy, I know this is going to crush you. Farmville is shutting down.
I was too distraught last week to talk about it.
Yeah,
That's why I didn't have an episode.
yeah.
I'm okay now.
You're okay.
I
Are you?
think.
You're able to talk
Okay.
about it. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your courage,
How
Billy.
much did you pour into the Farmville economy, Bill? How deep are you in that?
In comparison to Fire Emblem Heroes, or is
Oh,
Fire
I
Emblem
feel
just a?
like $4 in Fire Emblem Heroes.
So that's a
I
drop in
mean,
the bucket.
uh, I don't know. I try not to look at it because then it's like, oh man, that's like a 6-bedroom house I could have. Instead, it's a cow or two. I don't know. I never actually played Farmville. I can't keep this bit up. I don't know enough about it to keep the bit going. Sorry.
Did I never played it either. Charlie, did you?
For like a week.
No.
It's I just put it in because it just feels like a very 2010s thing.
Yeah.
Like this was super hot for a couple of years.
From the Arrow, and people still used Facebook.
Yeah. The interesting thing I found out from reading this article was that there's 2 sequels already.
Are those shutting
They
down?
moved. No, just the first one
There you
because it's a Flash issue, since Flash
Yeah.
is ending this year.
It's a Flash game and they're turning off Flash support everywhere. So.
Yeah, and that's actually requiring me to have to figure some stuff at my job, because we use Flash for some of our stuff. So I gotta figure out what's happening with that. But
I do as well. It's going to cause a bunch of problems for a lot of my stuff.
yeah,
Some of our trainings at work still use Flash, but I'm not in charge of getting those set up or going, so someone who gets paid more than me will figure it out, and I'll just go along with it.
yeah.
I'll load up a different browser or something.
Someone's
That's what I have
sweating
to do
about it.
now, anyways.
Yeah. Well, speaking of sweating, the Cyberpunk 2077 team is sweating to get this game out and not delay it again. Even after having said that they weren't going to do it. They weren't going to crunch again.
Like, yeah, we weren't gonna crunch, except we have to crunch.
Which
Oops.
is like, yeah, I don't know how you can say that. Isn't crunch just like an inevitable part of a game's
It shouldn't be, but
process?
it apparently is. They have
It's
to hit
only
some.
because of management.
Yeah, they have to. It's bad management in on a multiple levels. It's them not as them setting out unrealistic goals, and then like not managing the team properly to reach those goals, and then like forcing people into bad situations, to basically overworking them in order to reach these goals. It's like it's the publishing arm, it's the management. Um, Not saying like the team wasn't doing a good job and team was screwing around, and that's why they didn't, that's probably not what occurred. It's mostly they didn't budget the time properly, I think. I really don't know. I'm kind of
Well,
talking out
yeah.
of
I
my
mean,
ass.
yeah. There's a lot of speculation. I mean, really, the people who best can talk about this are the people who are being directly affected by having to go into crunch. And unfortunately, I would assume a lot of them probably feel pressure not to talk about it. So,
Well, part of it is like I've heard game developing, they kind of prey on people that have like, I'm just gonna sit. I like doing this, and so I'm just gonna sit here and work until I make myself sick working because this is my passion. I'm passionate about making games, and that's pretty crappy of a company to exploit people that way because that's what it is. It's they're exploiting them being willing to work themselves
well,
to
but
sickness.
we don't know if that's what's happening here
I just
exactly.
mean in general. I'm not specifically talking about CD Projekt Red or uh, Cyberpunk, but just in general, there's this that happens to some people. I've heard, you know, or they look at crunch as something you're gonna work yourself work. It's is expected, or it's something almost to be proud of. Like, yeah, you're gonna put in a lot of work on this. You're gonna make your bones working 90-hour weeks, sleeping under a desk to get this game out because the publisher or somebody made a deal that is unrealistic and never the fact that this was not gonna not wasn't realistically gonna happen was never properly explained to anyone, or the people in charge didn't care. It's probably a little of both. Probably more of the latter.
Now,
Uh,
it's also worth
like
noting
they're gonna
that
get paid overtime, and
yeah, it's six
there's a
weeks
yeah
that they're
there's
gonna
a
have to do
limit to how
this.
much they are legally allowed to like to work like overtime and stuff. Poland does have some uh you know worker protection, so it's not going to be like super terrible if they follow the law.
It seems like all things considered, if you have to crunch at a company, this might.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think from what I looked at, Charlie probably can talk more about it than we can.
I was just gonna say, I mean, crunch is everywhere. I have to do it for my job all
Yeah.
the time, and it's just a management problem. And especially with companies like these, you're making these marketing deals months in advance, and it takes a lot of effort to work with that department to change it, I imagine.
Well,
At least,
and in this case, their release date is like when the new consoles come out,
yeah.
right? And
It's and the other thing is they've already delayed it twice this
yeah,
year, so it's hard for them to push that onto the management and marketing when they've already said, "Well, you've already gotten 2 delays, and we need to hit the holiday." So I get it, and it's not great, but I don't know what the solution is because it seems like with these big games, no matter how many times you delay it, it seems like it happens every time.
I mean, maybe the Valve, maybe the Valve approach of it's done when it's done, and we'll keep delaying it until it's ready to go. But like, I don't know if there's a ton of crunch on like Half-Life, that when that got released.
Mm.
It's possible. I didn't look into that. I haven't seen.
have either of you guys read the final hours of Half-Life or anything? Half-Life 2, I
I,
guess it was.
I read like a summary of it.
I'm
Uh,
just
that's
wondering
like
what that
the
is.
the a writer's him saying what Half-Life Episode 3 or Half-Life 3 was going to be?
No, these are the Jeff Keighley things where he gets invited to. Oh yeah, he did that in the Half-Life Alyx one, but he's done several of them. The final hours of Jeff Keighley does these things where he'll go to Valve, and I might be talking to my butt here, but he did it for Half-Life 2. He did it for Portal 2.
Portal 2, yeah.
And he did it for Alyx.
I was thinking of one of the writers releasing a story. Right, he wrote up what was going on and what was going to be the story of Half-Life 3 with the boat and all that fun stuff. So no, I don't know what I'm talking about.
All right, well then we can just leave it there, I guess. And so it seems like with the PlayStation 5, Charlie, that they're committed to reducing their carbon footprint.
This is not necessarily just PlayStation specifically. There's a board, I don't remember what it's called, but last year they had some meeting for a lot of game devs, studios, I guess you would say, with Microsoft and Sony and a lot of the other major players about the environmental impact of gaming, because realistically, PCs and consoles can put up a lot of power from the amount of time they're run. And there were some general standards last year placed across the board, and Sony just kind of made a website this year to outline what they're doing specifically. So that's kind of the thing I appreciate, because it's something that at least I can try to focus on as an individual, even though the reality is whatever these companies end up doing as a whole has way more impact than anything that I would be purchasing or managing on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But at least it's good to know that the PS5 is going to have lower power consumption on its suspend gameplay mode, and that they're going to be having a lower carbon emission through their manufacturing of the PS4 for however long that still goes.
I think at the end of the day, this is better for you as someone who pays for electricity than necessarily that this will be something that really adds up to make the difference, right? This is cute that Sony's doing this, and it's good for you as someone who pays for electricity, but this is just such like a drop compared to everything else in the world that needs to be done.
Well, I mean, game making consoles takes up a lot of carbon.
Just the manufacturing process of it, you mean?
Yeah. Like, that's millions of tons, which is way more than any impact an individual would make. That's like country size in terms of how much emissions that feeds off over the lifetime of them making consoles. So it is important that they're doing that. I can't say how much more they could be doing because I'm not an environmental engineer, but it's good to know.
Yeah, it's worth noting none of us are.
Something.
Yeah. Unless Billy's been secretly studying away for years.
Confirm nor deny it.
Okay. All right.
Although I would say if you really care about that, the best thing to do besides just not buying it would be not to do any suspend and just turn it off. Like, companies pushing suspend or sleep modes is nice for having auto updates going while you're not playing the console, but that's anything plugged into a wall outlet is still using up electricity. It may be very minimal, but you don't actually want to waste electricity. You should just be unplugging everything. Not that that can actually happen for a lot of families. Like, you don't want kids hanging around with power cords, but there's more you could do than putting in a sleep mode. I would recommend not doing that, really.
So another, this is it's good that Sony's doing this, at least. It's not, I know I just got overly cynical about it just now, but it's not a bad thing. And to kind of continue this thing of trying to put some good out into the world. Surgeon Simulator 2 will be free for all NHS workers. Now that is the, correct me if I'm mistaken, but that is the healthcare system in the UK, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So I don't know about you guys, but I would think that if I were an NHS worker, the last thing I would want to do is go home and play a game that is placed in the setting of where I work. I would much more appreciate maybe a copy of Grand Theft Auto 5 or Left 4 Dead. But maybe that's just me. Like when I worked retail, the last thing I would want to do is go home and play a retail simulator game.
Those exist?
There's one that I've seen where it's kind of like Doom-like graphics, or kind of like lo-fi graphics, and there's like people coming at you in a grocery store or something. I don't remember the name or anything like that, but you may have even talked to me about it once. I'm not sure. In some indie game.
Maybe.
But.
I mean, there probably is. I can't remember right now. But yeah, I mean, I could see an angle of, hey, my job's so frustrating because of all this bullshit that I just want to go and mess up somebody's heart in this virtual game. I don't know. Depends on what your take is.
What they're not telling you is that they're tracking anyone who might do that and reporting them to their supervisors.
Well, I hope not. Because that would be a huge privacy invasion. But what they are doing is they're also doing a speedrun sponsorship event in Sim 2 where real doctors are going to be speedrunning the game as best as they can to raise money for their MRI facilities.
Wow.
So that's something I would like to see. Because I've heard from fellow doctor friend, I guess I shouldn't say fellow, I'm not a doctor, but our good doctor friend Cameron commented on how video games have helped him some in surgery in terms of hand-eye coordination. So
okay,
I would be interested to see how this speedrunning event lines up with whether these doctors are people who haven't played video games at all and they're just being shoved into this for the memes, or if they actually know what they're doing.
I think I bought Cameron Surgeon Sim 1 when it came out.
Billy and I did a Let's Play of that once.
We did like the original.
Yeah, the original. Before even they added in TF2 stuff to that game, yeah.
I mean, this was like the free-to-play, like, Flash version or something.
I don't think so. I think it was the legit version.
I don't think so. I don't think...
I could... We'll look into it later.
Like, I know we also did like Robot Vacuum Simulator. That was a great one.
So Billy would be like towards the end of Max Level Mash.
This was the middle.
No, well, this is the beginning of the end. Billy would be like, "Hey, come over. I got this game. Let's record it on the show." And I go over, and every single time it was some awful game. It was Robot Vacuum Simulator. There was another one that was something akin to Oregon Trail. I don't remember what it was called. So I think that only lasted a few times before I said, I'm not coming over for any random games anymore.
Well, the problem was we didn't have a way to put the mic on the desk without the keyboard being way too noisy.
Yeah, we never thought to get a scissor arm or anything like that.
The sound quality was really bad. Well, no, we would have to have something like not tied to the desk, because even like an arm, or you'd have to have like a really good shock mount. And those cost money, and I didn't feel like spending $100 on a shock mount. So.
Okay. Do you hear that coming through the table?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I heard it.
Oh. I mean, you can hear the knock, right? But
yeah,
if I go like this, do you hear that? How audible is that?
I heard something. I don't know what you're trying to make me hear.
I'm just testing my shock mount. Anyways, not important. Not important.
But that was the reason we
great
stopped.
Podcast content.
Yeah, I know, right?
Was the lack of a shock mount, and so the audio quality was just atrocious. That's why I stopped doing it.
I mean,
Those are some of my favorite episodes.
our audio quality in general back then was atrocious.
Yeah.
I mean, we were both social distancing ourselves from the microphone, and
We only wanted to have one mic.
using that one mic there to record two people.
Yeah, in stereo. That was a good way of doing it.
I guess at the time. I don't know. Not now. If I think back, let's say this. What's that one game I agreed to play with you again, Billy?
I don't know.
I did it a few episodes ago. I agreed there would be some game that we would play. We would do a new, fresh Let's Play of, but I've already forgot what it was. But so whenever we record that, I would like to. If it's something where we have to be in the same room as each other, I'm definitely going to get another XLR mic, and we're going to be on our own microphones. And
I mean, yeah, that would be the smart way of doing it, but we didn't have the money or really the knowledge to dump into this lark. That's what it was.
I don't have a way to transition to this, but we never play. Okay, here we go. We never played Skullgirls on Max Level Mash, but hey, we could play something from a new studio someday that came from the team who made Skullgirls, Charlie.
Okay. That was pretty good.
Thank you.
You kind of got there.
I stumbled my way through.
Yeah. So we mentioned a couple episodes ago about Skullgirl devs breaking up just because of their founder being a kind of a aggressive piece of crap.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
We have to protect ourselves.
I will say. I would say there's enough evidence against that, but okay. Future Club is their new studio from a lot of their original team. They say they're going to not only focus on making sure they're having a better workplace environment, but that this is going to be sort of a co-op in spirit. I don't think they can legally make it a co-op just because there's a lot of issues with that, but just more worker-focused management instead of a single CEO that's running and directing everything.
But you know what I'm going to say, right? How long will that last?
Go ahead. Yeah, who knows?
How long until
on the
they
paperwork, you still got to put someone down to run everything.
How long until they become what they feared? And is that just the natural cycle of things?
Yeah, with a lot of indie studios, I think it works out okay. I've heard mixed things, I guess, depending on what the studio is, but it sounds like these people have worked together long enough to know to avoid that.
Yeah, I wish them the best, of course. But they don't actually have any games announced in the pipeline right now, right?
They just formed last week. There's not going to be anything for few years.
Be interesting. You know, I mean, people like Skullgirls a lot, right? Does that game have netcode or rollback? Of course, it has netcode.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it does.
It has rollback.
I think it has really good netcode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. People like that game. People seem to really like it, like when it came out too. People are always talking about it.
Yeah. See, I just wanted to throw that in there to balance out the cyberpunk.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw. I straight up took the Ubisoft article out of here. Hey, by the way, it's Ellie's birthday.
Get it?
It's Ellie's birthday today. She turned 6 today. Ellie, it's your birthday. Can you get on camera?
Sounds like she's passing you in dog years. Although I think I heard that's not even really a thing anymore.
Well, yeah, and it also depends on the dog. Like, smaller dogs can live to be really old. Larger dogs. Well, I don't know. Wasn't there like a golden retriever recently who lived to be like 20 or something?
Yeah, I'm sure there's genetics and diet have a lot to do with it.
Yeah. But yeah, I took the Ubisoft story out of here. I yeeted that out of this Mashcast doc, as the kids say. Well, what if you
I'm
guys?
glad we're still talking about it.
Yeah, right. What if you guys? This is a meta show, Charlie.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'll be more meta from now on.
Here at the Mashcast, we encourage transparency. I'm not gonna touch that one. What have you guys been playing?
I don't know. You want to go first, Bill? Yeah.
I finished reading Dune. I'm reading the Godfather book now, and I'll probably read Dune 2, Electric Dune, Doongaloo.
I didn't know there was
when
a
I
Dune
finish.
2.
It's like Children of Dune, I think, then Dune Messiah, and then it gets weird. Like some giant penis monster shows up, and it's like I'm not afraid of like I like Shin Megami Tensei, so they have Mara in that game, and Mara's pretty cool.
I thought that was what the monster comes up and he says.
What?
The monster shows up and he's like, "Hey, I like Shin Megami Tensei too."
No, it's like I like
That'd be
Shin Megami
great.
Tensei, and there's Mara, so I'm not afraid of penis monsters in a video game or a book. But apparently, Dune gets weird. Uh, so that's what I've been doing. I've been reading.
Nice.
I got this model kit.
Is that like
It's
a
a
battle mech Haro?
pretty much. It's
Her-
covered in 3mm holes, so you can
Put water in it. Just use it as
put
a sprinkler.
you can put all sorts of fun stuff on it. It's not going to focus because this camera's garbage, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's a robot with some cannons on it.
that's pretty neat. In universe, would that be pretty small then? Is it like a Haro that would be like this big fits into that, or is it like a bigger Haro mech?
It's probably going to be the former.
What's the scale on that bad boy?
It's a no scale kit.
Okay. Cowards.
Easy assembly, no glue required. I think you still need to snip. Yeah, you still need to snip it out. The new new entry grade RX-78, I think it only has like one set of stickers for the eyes. You don't even need nippers for it. You can just pop off the pieces and they'll pop off clean. And it has like extremely good color separation, and it's pretty posable too. And it's made for total noobs.
So how
Total
many
noob
how many have you
newbies.
ordered?
None yet, but it looks cool. I already have an RX. I have two RX-78s.
You can never have too many I have two RX-78s and I want more. You can never have too many RX-78s.
Then get this entry grade.
No, I'm not an entry grade gunpla builder. I don't have all the tools that you do for painting and top coats and everything. And I need to get a new finishing stick, but I'm not an entry grade. Pfft, please.
Sounds like when you have a competition.
No, I
So you
can't
can
beat
make-
Billy. I'm not saying. No, okay. Let's not conflate things here. I'm not saying that I'm better than Billy. That's not true.
Okay.
But I'm not entry grade.
I am literally an award-winning model builder.
Well, someone with a name very similar to yours is an award
Well,
winner.
They misspelled my name on there. That's how you know it's legit. If I was faking it, I would spell my name right.
Bill
That
never
is true.
submits anything with his real name. He has a pen name, right?
That's not my pen name. My pen name is
Oh,
different.
okay.
They just misspelled it. It's great.
Charlie, what have you been playing or watching or reading or otherwise consuming?
Oh wait, I actually forgot. There's a new Monster Hunter DLC. Like some big. I think it's like the kind of the final boss monster of the first Monster Hunter game. Fatalis is an Iceborne, and I've been getting stomped in that for the last couple of days. So that's cool. So after this show is done, I'm going to load up Monster Hunter, and hopefully my Monster Hunter friends are on and will help me grind and beat this monster in Monster Hunter.
Is that something where you need to have co-op to be able to beat him, or does that just make it easier?
It makes it easier. I've seen some guy. There's been people that have done it solo already. Most monsters you can do solo. It's only like some of like the siege type events where you can't realistically do it solo, or usually like there's a really strict time limit, and you have to kind of like do enough damage at certain points in the fight, or else you just lose. Uh, those you kind of need to have a team, but it's a fun team game. And there's Monster Hunter Rise. I don't know if we talked about it, but you can have a dog in there. You can have two dogs in there. I think I did talk about it last couple weeks ago, and I said Capcom was cowards for not talking about the hunting horn in Rise. But my thing still stands. You can have two dogs, and Capcom's cowards show me the hunting horn. Okay, continue.
Okay. Yeah, I've been playing a bunch of stuff. Still going
Your
through
games per
VR.
capita is probably higher than any of ours, Charlie.
Oh, well, I mean, that's not that hard with VR
Yeah.
games because, they're like an hour long.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I was playing more VR stuff. To the Top is a game that came out a few years ago. I just didn't play it at the time because it requires a bit more VR experience, I guess I would say. You gotta be able to keep your stomach up because there's
Oh, this
a
was
lot
the
of weird
one.
movement.
This was the one with the bomb soundtrack, right?
Yeah, it's a kind of parkour-esque one where or I guess like a mixture of parkour and rock climbing, where you have to jump between various handhold points, and they slowly get progressively harder as you're climbing up
Yeah,
weird esoteric sculptures.
that game was really cool looking.
It was really cool until it got too hard. So I did beat it, but it definitely gets really annoying towards the end.
Mhm.
Luckily, it had a good soundtrack to make it worth it. So I would probably recommend it if you can stomach it. Um, Also played this thing called O-Shape, which is kind of like, if you've ever seen those Japanese games where they have like a wall of foam coming towards you with a specific cutout of a shape that you have to stand in
Yeah.
to pass through it. Yeah, that's basically this, but a rhythm game. Which I only didn't play that much of because it's pretty much all trap. Which
What do you
is
mean
not
it's all
exactly my
trap?
thing. It's pretty much all trap music.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was like,
Just natively what's
What
in
is-
the game.
what exactly is trap music? Define trap music for me.
You're asking the wrong person for that. It's
When someone the answer whenever someone talks about music is you just escape. I like the earlier stuff. That's all you got to say.
Mhm.
It doesn't really allow you. The conversation kind of ends there, and everyone thinks that you know what you're talking about. And everyone will agree, yeah, the earlier stuff is better before they sold out. Yeah,
Well, trap's not a band.
I know, but you'd still say like the earlier trap. I like earlier
Is
trap.
it like gangsta rap?
no,
I
this
think
is
it's more electronic.
Yeah, it's an offshoot of electronic. It's not quite. It's not techno. It's not dub. I guess dubstep would be the closest,
sub?
but not really. It's more like poppy dubstep with a lot less filtering. I guess I'm
See,
not a music person. I can't really describe genres well. This is probably completely wrong. But
See, because I know, like a trap star. Like that's a
The-
rap term, right? Isn't that like a rap? Because wasn't that like a
I guess, yeah.
yeah? Because
Probably.
I feel like when I used to listen to a lot of rap in high school, that was a thing. So that's why I thought that's what trap music was.
Maybe
I mean,
no, I don't know.
maybe I just have no idea what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Oh,
Let me.
it obviously stands for techno rap.
Yeah,
Is it really?
I don't know.
It's-
Don't talk to me.
probably.
Hey, Kenny, why don't you look it up?
I'm doing that right now. Okay. I see it. There's a cat wearing sunglasses with X's in them.
Okay, that actually says a lot. There's so many off-color jokes I could have made. and I just kept my mouth
So
closed.
Young Jeezy has a song called Trap Star.
Okay.
So that's why I thought trap music had to do
Maybe.
with that. And
That
I used to
was
listen to Young Jeezy back in the day.
okay.
Got the city on lock. Big shoes on the car. Oh, I can't read the rest
Why
of this.
don't you
actually.
tell us a description of trap music so like
Oh,
we know
yeah.
what we're
Oh,
talking
sure.
about?
According to Wikipedia. Now
I only
hold
trust
on.
Webster.
Hold
Can you-
on. Here's the thing. So it pops up and it first says trap music. For the EDM trap music genre, see trap music parentheses EDM. So we're on the main
Okay,
trap
that's-
music. Now hold on. Hold on.
That's probably what I'm talking about.
Trap is a subgenre of hip hop music that originated in the southern United States in the early 1990s. So it is both rap music and a style of electric dance music that originated in the mid 2000s and early 2010s.
So it's probably going to
Okay.
be the EDM version. But explain.
Yeah,
Can you explain what
yeah.
both of them are?
Yeah,
Like,
I just did.
No, you didn't.
What's the difference between the EDM and the original trap?
What differentiates trap from regular rap music?
Oh, okay. So EDM trap blends elements of trap music, an offshoot of southern hip hop, with elements of EDM like build-ups, drops, and breakdowns. So it is just a techno version of
Okay.
the rap kind of trap music.
Okay, so I definitely have it right, but there's definitely I wouldn't call it close to rap at all though. It's much more there's like K-pop stuff in this.
This is one of the best segments we've ever had.
The most embarrassing segment we've ever had. Jesus Christ.
Tomatoes.
Well, okay, well if you like whatever that is, you can check out O-Shape on VR. Um, besides that, I played some non-VR stuff.
Some what do you got? What do you guys call us? Flat screenies or whatever?
Flat
Pancakes.
screeners. Well, we call you normies.
Okay.
Uh,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Pancake screen. Pancake games.
Yeah. Mm.
Flatsies.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta take a thin slice of something. You just want a little nibble. You don't want the whole 3D encompass. So I played Super Mario 35, the
Oh, I have also played
new
it.
battle royale.
Yeah.
I still don't have a good grasp of the meta yet, but it seems fun. Kind of annoyed. Seems like there's a little input delay in how they're handling the online, which is really messing me up.
I'm not sure what the point of the game is, right? Like, you unlock pictures that you can use, like little sprites, but beyond that,
Yeah.
what is the purpose?
You're asking what the point of a battle royale game is?
Yeah, I guess maybe that's why I don't play battle
To be
royale
number
games.
one.
Yeah. Okay.
You play to win.
It is fun. It is fun.
But-
I just don't. With this
Okay.
game and so many others, I just don't get it. But it is fun.
It's a fun gameplay loop. Like,
Yeah.
I like the meta-ness of it wrapping around and being based on the levels that each user selects in the beginning instead of just the straight you're going through the whole original Mario Bros. Game. And that can really create a lot of interesting things that, unless you're doing a Mario Maker, you wouldn't see, like bloopers and Bowser's appearing in a land stage.
Yeah.
And it does get very crazy towards the end. I've never won yet. I've gotten top 5 a few times, but the timer definitely starts getting really fast. You got to rely a lot more on getting coins. It's just each battle royale is different, but it's diving into that meta of, is this gameplay loop of killing enemies and getting coins and tracking the right opponents fun?
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm not. I think it's definitely not as fun as Tetris 99. Just that's more free form due to the nature of Tetris, allowing you to focus more of it specifically as a puzzle game. and then sending your stuff off to opponents, whereas the platforming nature of Mario doesn't exactly blend as well. Like you're still doing the same stages every time, whereas in Tetris, it's like your block shape patterns are going to be different every time, and you can make a strategy around that. Mario's more, you got the same level layout pretty much every time, and they even let you practice offline. So I could see it getting stale really quick, but I could also see how, like I said a couple episodes ago, how they could easily do like a Zelda or a Metroid NES style of this. And I'm 100% that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Once this ends in March, that they're gonna put a Zelda NES one. I guarantee it.
Zelda 35. Yeah.
I would bet a PS5 on it. If they don't,
I'm not
I'll
gonna
buy
hold
you
you.
guys a PS5 if they don't.
I'm not gonna hold you to that, but
Okay.
Well, yeah, because then we would have to buy Charlie a PS5, and he'd have two.
See, I'm working my way up to the. I have 5 PS5s. I'm gonna be the one who makes that. Yeah, I'll probably check that out a little bit more, but it's not quite what I was expecting. The big thing, though, that I've been playing is Hades, which is the new Supergiant Games game from creators of Bastion, Transistor, and I love this game. This might be like game of the year, honestly. Uh, it's just each of their games in the past has been kind of its own thing. Like Bastion was way more action. Transistor was kind of a turn-based RPG-esque with some action. And Empire was a visual novel with a little bit of basketball or whatever you want to call it. This is like pulling in all the best elements of those games into one roguelike, and it feels incredible to play. There's so many good modifiers that change up what each run feels like, and the really amazing part of it that I don't think I've really seen from any other game like that is just the way they handle the roguelike or the permadeath run nature. I guess it's not necessarily roguelike to do a die and repeat style, but just using that formula into the narrative. So there's just an unbelievable amount of dialogue that they recorded for this, and it's like every time you do a new run, you're getting new dialogue that will often play on what happened in your last run. Like if you die to a certain boss and you get back to them in the next run, they're going to comment on, "Oh, hey, I pounced you last time," or
Nemesis
"Oh,
system.
you beat me before." Yeah, kind of almost like a Nemesis system thing. Or there's like a hub area where you'll have different discussions with characters that will make commentary on, "Hey, that this was what you died to in there. Good luck with dealing with that." Or some of the, this is a little spoiler, I guess, but some of the bosses come into the hub area and you'll have commentary with them that really changes how you see their character. Just, man, I could talk about this game for a while. It's just really, really good. I think it's really good if you're not super into roguelikes as a entry level point, because they do a lot of good onboarding. Like I've beaten the game a couple times now, but what they did in terms of the narrative is like it's expecting you to die many times before you get to the end, just because of how it doles out upgrade systems and some of the narrative. Like you'd be missing out a lot on it if you somehow were able to beat it in the first couple of runs you did. Just stuff like that, and even after you beat it, there's like a phase 2 now that I'm in. There's even more modifiers and expansions to make it more difficult, and it still has a story beat that continues, and just the way they frame the story makes it worth replaying to get to the end again. Like it's there's like the only bad thing I can really think of right now is that there's somewhat limited in terms of level and bosses. They kind of fix that up with some of the modifiers you get later on. But that's like the only thing I can see as a negative right now is that it's limited in terms of what you're fighting against, but it has so many different modifiers that you can use on your weapons in terms of how you're playing that it never really feels the same. Like, uh, I don't know. I'm probably just rambling here, but it's really good.
What
It's
kind of
it's incredible.
what is the gameplay like? Because I know it's a
So
roguelite, but what
right,
is
so it's a
it?
roguelike. You're in hell. It's Hades. So you're Zagreus. It's very much Greek mythology esque.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the modifiers are sort of based on the gods trying to help you out. You're the son of Hades, Zagreus, who's trying to escape hell and see. Uh, I guess I won't say that because of spoilers, but you're trying to escape hell for a reason, and you'll get boons, which are these modifiers to your weapons sent from the gods that will appear at random and give you various effects to help you escape. And every time that happens, those gods have their own dialogue that will comment on, oh, hey, you picked up a different modifier from a different god, or there's places where you'll see two boons and one god will get pissed if you picked up the other ones. So you got to fight based on their effects now.
But what is the
But the general
gameplay?
idea,
What's the like? What is
it's like all their
the?
other, like Bastion. It's an action isometric RPG.
Okay, see, I'm not familiar,
Yeah.
so.
Okay. You haven't played
Mm-mm.
any of their stuff?
Mm-mm.
No. I feel like there wasn't that many indies back then, so almost everyone had at least tried Bastion. But I guess
I think I own it. I just never played it.
okay. Okay. Well, yeah. So it's like an isometric action RPG. You've got a weapon. In this one, you can unlock up to 6 different ones, and they all play very differently. But I've really enjoyed all of them, and they give incentives to switch between them to get other currencies to progress. Uh, but yeah, you're just going through a floor with various rooms of enemies. Each time you clear a room, you'll get a reward that increases like the amount of currency you have, or this upgrade currency that you can use back in your hub to improve your overall stats, like uh, coming back to life after you die in a
Mm.
room without having to restart. And slowly it gets progressively harder. At the end of a floor, you have a boss, and then you proceed up to the next floor. Um, but just the main drip feed. This feels really good in my brain for me is the boons that modify your weapon that you pick at the start, and that can be anything from a passive, like you'll do more damage with this attack button now, to your attacks now send out a lightning effect that'll send a lightning bolt out to chain between different enemies. Over time, as you're going up the floor, you build on all those boons so that they interact with each other, and just the number of them that are available just creates so many different varieties for how you can play. Like, I had Zeus do a cast, which is like your projectile attack, which will send out a lightning bolt to zap between a couple enemies. And then later on, I got Artemis, which is like the huntress in Greek mythology, and normally she'll do stuff that gives you like arrows or critical hit effects.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this one combination where you can even eventually, if you get lucky, you can get a drop that combines the two gods. So you'll get something like Lightning Rod, which after you do your casts, it drops these little crystals that represent your cast because you have a limited amount of uses. And as long as they're still out on the field, it'll just constantly send down lightning in that area,
Mm.
irrespective of what you're doing. So it's like a constant damage add-on. Just it's probably a lot to take in because there's just so much.
Yeah.
There's so much in this game. I guess I could say if you're not familiar with roguelikes at all, there is a lot of currency that you have to learn in the beginning. I didn't quite get it down for the first couple runs, um, but it's all designed really well. A lot of roguelikes I see, when you're trying to get upgrades, it's really easy to pick because the choices aren't designed very well. But in this one, when you pick up a boon, you get 3 choices between what modifier you want to add on, so you can at least try to get down a certain path of the system you want. But it's really hard sometimes to choose because they all sound so good. And even like in earlier runs where there's one that I think, oh, this doesn't really sound that good. I don't know why I would ever pick that. I get a different mod earlier on, and I find that one again, like, oh, okay, of course, that's what this would be for. Yeah, it's incredible.
Cool. Is it on what?
Right now it's on PC and Switch.
Okay.
And I'd say completing a run for me, like from finish to end, it's not a very long game, like most roguelikes are once you actually complete them. It's maybe like an hour at most to get to the final boss, much less than that if you're just dying somewhere earlier on. I've seen speedrun times already be like 10 minutes or something. So it's a real quick pickup game that you don't want to stop playing because there's so much to it that you can get invested in.
I've pretty much only heard good things about it from people that have played it. It's something I'd probably pick up at some point. If I actually play it, is a different matter, because I'll buy a lot of games and never start them.
I'm glad I
but
broke
this one
myself
looks like
of
something
that.
I'd want to play.
Yeah, I mean I think this has the best characters of the year. Just all the writing is really good. Like Kenny, a lot of their games are just presented in sort of you get a really detailed outline of the character, and it's just sort of a visual novel-esque. You're just reading the text on the bottom. It's not interactive cutscenes or anything like that. But all that artwork is really well done. The voice acting, because all these lines are voice acted, is really good. I guess I could see it being annoying if you don't like the verbose Greek god nature where they're all talking really flamboyantly sometimes. But all the gods are really unique. They're really well acted. There's a gift system that you can do. So one of the drops is like a flask that you can choose to give to each character in the hub area, and that will unlock trinkets, kind of like a ring system in Dark Souls, Bill, where you'll have a separate passive effect. And that's how you can progress side stories for the game as well, because there's other stuff going on where like one character in your hub base that you start on after you die might have an interaction with someone in the actual run, because there will be rooms where you can like rest and recover, interact with some characters there. Just, man, there's so much. Best dog petting of the year.
Oh,
also,
now you've sold me.
Cerberus is in the game, and you can pet him whenever you want. It's so good.
Right.
It's so good.
I need to go get an eShop card then, so I can pet Cerberus. Well, cool. Yeah, was that game that kind of came out of nowhere, huh? Or was it?
It's been in early access
for a long time.
Oh, okay.
And it just went 1.0 around the same time Spunky 2 came out. So,
which was another one I've been interested in, but I've just been too wrapped up in Hades to think about.
And Spunky 2, it looks really cool, but I don't like platformers because I'm bad at them. So I'm probably not going to get Spunky 2.
Well, speaking of platformers, I beat Super Mario Sunshine. That game is trash, but it's hard to say that I didn't. Right, I wouldn't have beaten it, I don't think, unless I enjoyed it at some level. So, because I'm not that kind of person, right? If it was really that bad, I would have just stopped. So it's what's the thing? It's like I didn't enjoy the game, but I enjoyed playing it, I guess. If that.
Yeah, it's got a good movement system. It's just that it's got hampered by a lot of weird design choices.
Yeah, I mean it's it trash game, but I had fun at parts. I've been replaying Super Mario 64 again. I'm going for 120 stars this time. Just what a joy of a game Super Mario 64 is. Which brings me to the third game in this collection, as I've been working my way through. Super Mario Galaxy, which does not at all stand up to how I remember it. And
How so?
its criminal sin is that I am finding it bland. And Billy is nodding, but it's just like what I found so charming about 64 and even Sunshine is the way that exploration becomes a part of the platforming. And in 64, that is really, or in Galaxy, that is really stripped away. And outside of stuff like the Honey Beehive Galaxy or whatever it's called, there's no exploration. And it's just, you're just going from point A to point B. Can you get past this set of challenges to get to the end of the level? Like, that's it in Super Mario Galaxy. I'm finding that I'm getting motion sick from the way that the camera swings around when I'm going, like, there's these saucers, right, that you can go on the underside of them, and sometimes the camera will swing around with you. That doesn't feel good. At first, I liked the Joy-Con motion controls, but I don't know what's different, if it's just that my wrist over the past 10 years of good games has gotten used to not having to deal with motion controls anymore, and it's the motion controls are hurting my wrist, or it's because the Joy-Cons are so much lighter that when I'm pointing them around, right, it's not, there was something to the weight of a Wiimote, and especially later, like with the Wiimote Plus adapter on there. I don't know, like when I played it the last time, I switched to using my PS4 controller, and then I just, you can, the PS4, because it has gyros in it, you can use it in place of a Pro controller.
Okay.
If you have an adapter.
Well, so.
What do you mean, how so? I don't know the tech, I just know that it works.
Like you just plug in it, like you just
No, I have
hold down the sync button and
I have
it connects?
I have an 8-bit-do adapter for my Switch.
Okay.
So I switched to using my PS4 controller, and then I don't know if it was just hot in here, or if it was my allergies acting up, or I would just really have decided that maybe I don't like Super Mario Galaxy. But I just stopped playing it. And I honestly, I feel more inclined right now to go back and play Sunshine more and try to 100 coin all the levels than I do to play any more of Galaxy.
Wow, that's surprising.
You're taking the first steps to realizing that Mario is trash.
No, because I think I
Again,
love Super Mario
baby
64 more than I ever
Baby-
have.
It's the first steps. You know, you'll start to realize that these
No,
games
because-
are bad, and
listen,
that people that like them should feel bad.
Because
and it'll happen eventually. Again, baby steps.
no,
I'm not trying
because
to.
I'm telling you,
sorry, I shouldn't have said anything. I shouldn't have tried to scare you into realizing you're going down this path to enlightenment. Because now you're going to try to rebel against
my
it.
impressions
I'm sorry.
of Galaxy,
My apologies.
as they go down, I used to just think 64 was a good game. Now I think 64 is a borderline perfect game. So I'm not sure.
Turning to a zealot, that's the opposite.
Yeah. Sunshine has its problems.
Jihad against people that like get. No.
I think 64, it has its camera issues, of course, but I think it's a masterpiece. And so I feel more inclined to play more 64 or Sunshine than to play Galaxy 1 again. Now, I don't remember how Galaxy 2 played out, because in my mind's eye, I remember Galaxy 2 having more flat plane levels and less run around a planet to it. And of course, it does have that Super Mario 64 level in it. So I don't remember if Galaxy 2 leaned more into exploration. I doubt that it did.
Yeah, and the way those games are designed is, it's meant to be linear.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
It's kind of like an Uncharted almost, where it's just like you're going from set piece to set piece in each level, and it's not necessarily a lot of challenge or the variety.
Yeah, I'm not
between them.
I'm not saying Galaxy is a bad game. I'm just saying that in comparison to having played 64 and Sunshine, and then to go to Galaxy is such a different game. that
Yeah, I mean, it
it's
was like 6 years between Sunshine and Galaxy originally, but people were wanting anything from 3D Mario by
yeah.
that point.
And to play Galaxy now, it's just it's not what I remember. And so this is what I was talking about, like, because I listen to the Galaxy soundtrack a lot because I think that game has some of the best music of a video game, just as a total soundtrack. And so I listen to it a lot, and the memories of enjoying Super Mario Galaxy in college, I'd like to just kind of let those stay there because I'm not sure I enjoy the game now. But
Yeah, I'd say it's fine for a first run through. It's just hard to go back to because there's not a whole lot of depth.
yeah, but man, 64, that's a game. So that's all I've been playing, just 3D Mario Collection. I'm just like not really playing anything right now until Yakuza, which got pushed up. That's a new story. Yakuza 7, the PS4 version got pushed up to the Xbox release date. Best Buy sent me an email and told me. So, but I'm just waiting for that and Hyrule Warriors. There's not really anything else on my radar right now. That's it. I have been watching The Boys still. Billy, you got to get in on the show. I'm telling you, there's a guy named Billy. He's got a beard, and he calls people the C word constantly.
I mean, I do that, but I'm alone in my apartment, and it's people at work.
Yeah, this guy does it in the presence of other people. Just like multiple times an episode.
I mean, I say it. I'm sure my neighbors probably hear me yelling at some of these people when I'm at work. Just those most vile things because they're truly are trash scum, and I don't want anyone to have to deal with them.
So
But unfortunately, I can't remove them from the populace.
get Chris to
Uh,
hook you up with download this show's great. And then I've picked Watchmen back up.
I'd rather continue to read books. I finished reading the Gundam novelization, which was cool because uh, that was like the first thing of Gundam that came out in America, like in the 90s, before like Gundam Wing was released. Definitely before 0079 came out. Original Mobile Suit Gundam. So like none of the names were really set in stone.
It's like when you have Shaw and stuff, right?
So yeah, like Char, it's it's pronounced Sha in Japanese, so they spell it Sha, S-H-A. Zaku's they're you don't pronounce the U, so it's just they're called Zoks. Names are put in differently because they were going off of like have the Japanese pronunciation of it or like a Japanese translation, and the official English translations weren't official yet. Those didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool. Uh, it's I wish it was available as a electronic book format because I had to I had to obtain a copy of it because I couldn't find an ebook for it. Apparently the third uh, reprinting of it, they went back and used the official translations for the characters and the locations and stuff like that.
Cool.
So I will buy it in physical format the next time I buy something from a store that has the book in stock because it's not in stock at my typical bookstore.
So you
Maybe I
prefer
should.
the physical over like a e-reader?
I would prefer an e-reader because it's so much simpler to read it on my just have a Kindle and carry that thing around, but they don't have an ebook version of it. So I found someone turned it into an ebook from like the first printing, so it had all the weird names and like the formatting was all screwed up, and I could go in and fix it, but that was way too much work that I was honestly willing to put into it. But I do like to buy things. If I like something, I don't mind buying it. Like even if I don't aren't gonna look at it. Like I watched a pirated version of Turn A Gundam, but I have Turn A Gundam on Blu-ray. It's easier for me because I watch it on my computer, it's easier to not put in a Blu-ray and deal with the lack of an official Blu-ray player for Windows. And I don't want to, buy some malware that masquerades as a, Blu-ray player from like Power DVD or whatever, Cyber Pro or whatever the hell it is.
Yes,
When
all
I
BS.
bought an OEM drive, and so it didn't come with a license for a Blu-ray player, or if it did, I lost it.
Well, see, mine did, but then the license just decided it didn't want to be valid anymore.
Yeah, and that also can happen, and in those circumstances, sorry,
There's nothing
maybe
you
you
can
can
do.
talk to the license, the software company. Maybe they can give you an upgrade, or this. Yeah, it's no longer in support. If you want to use it, you have to buy a new version. That's probably going to be the thing you get. Now it's all like a subscription. Pay $100 a year to watch Blu-rays.
No, they can go to hell. I'll bring my PS3 in here before I.
Yeah, I will obtain a copy online to watch Gundam. It's not hard to do.
Yeah,
Maybe go to a used bookstore and buy it.
Blu-ray is on. Blu-ray drives and PCs is like the world's greatest scam.
It's really annoying because Microsoft didn't want to spend the money to have an official, like they didn't want to pay the licensing money to have an official Blu-ray player. But like Blu-ray drives have like upgrades, so like I tried to watch Aliens on my Blu-ray drive, and it said, "Hey, your firmware in your Blu-ray drive is out of date. Sorry, you need to update your Blu-ray drive at this website." And it's like, okay, thanks for giving me a URL on a video screen that I like on a screen I can't click. It's not a clickable link. Like, type in this mile-long URL, and it doesn't exist anymore. And it links to another web page where it's like, hey, here's this $80 a year subscription for a Blu-ray drive and all this other faff that you don't need. It's like, I don't. If you could just give me, I don't need an experience. I want to watch a Blu-ray I purchased. And yeah, if you can give it to me for like, I'll pay $50 for a fucking Blu-ray player, like a program that's just an executable that just plays a goddamn Blu-ray. Sure, that's a ripoff. I spent more. That's more than I spent on the damn drive, but I'll do it if it just lets me do it. But those don't exist anymore. They're all some sort of experience. Ooh,
It's like how
I'm upset. I'm upset, and I'll just use that is the first Blu-ray movie I've ever watched in my PlayStation 4 was Aliens a few weeks ago when I got like before and after going to the dentist. I had to stop the movie like 30 minutes before the end, right at the climax. I'm like, oh shit, I have to go to the dentist. So I stop watching Aliens, go to the dentist, and then come back and finish watching Aliens.
Was that right at the scene where the little mouth of the mother exits out of the?
I think it was before that. It was right as they were getting ready to like barricade down the main colony. Uh, like as they were setting up the turrets, and I was like, okay, this is right before everything is going to pop off and go to hell. Let's go to the dentist.
Well, on that
My
note,
teeth were fine.
well, that's good to hear. On that note, we're gonna go ahead and end it here because I could grouse about Blu-ray drives all day with you. So, go ahead and end it here. Thank you for watching the Mashcast. We try to be here every Saturday at 4, but sometimes it's Billy's fault and we don't show up.
Say, we could try to be a Fortnite podcast. I think there's another podcast that calls himself a Fortnite podcast, and they release every 2 weeks, so we probably can't do it legally. But yeah,
They
goodbye.
wouldn't sue anybody.